Ladies and gentlemen, I actually don't know why I introduced it like that, but today I am ranking every song by Shinedown. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, but they then announced their 8 albums, then I had to wait for that to come out and so I could listen to it properly, but now I have. So let's go. And just to clarify, this is obviously going to be my opinions. It doesn't mean the song's necessarily bad. I like doing these kind of rating videos, especially for bands I love. So even if something's in like C tier, it means I probably still like the song. It's one that I don't listen to as much by them, or more likely to skip, for example. Honestly, I love a lot of Shinedown songs. So with that being said, we're going to go in album order. So we're going to start with Leave a Whisper. Now, we're starting out with a sort of solid middle ground, Fly from the Inside. I think that's a B tier for me. I like the song, but it's like that perfect middle of like, it's not my absolute favourite songs, so the S or A tiers, but it's also not one that I would necessarily skip if it comes on. Left Out, I like some of the riffs on it, but I think this is one I'm more likely to skip. It just doesn't draw me in for some reason, so straight in C. Again, this is sort of similar. Lost in the Crowd, it's got some nice elements to it that I do like, but it's not one I would sort of choose to listen to, so that is also going to go in C tier. I feel exactly the same about No More Love, so that is also going to go in C tier. Now, Better Vision. Now, this one was very close. I almost put this in D tier. I think this may be one of my least favourite Shinedown songs. There's a couple of elements I do like, so I couldn't justify putting it in D tier personally, but I am very likely to skip this unless I end up, like if I ever get the vinyl for this, for example, I will still listen to it, but it is very close. But now we're going to get into ones that I do like more. So Burning Bright. Now this one I do actually really like, and I think I listened to it when I was younger, but I rediscovered it whilst I was listening through everything to rate them. It's a very decent song. Again, it doesn't hit that A or S tier for me, but absolutely enjoy listening to this one, so that's going in B. In Memory. Now this again, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot with this album. I think this goes in C tier. I think they hadn't quite figured out their sound or how they wanted to sound, because it feels like there's a lot of good elements in these songs, but it doesn't quite feel like great songs, at least in my opinion. So In a Memory goes in C. All I Ever Wanted. Now this one's a bit weird. Like it's sort of straddling that B and C tier for me. I like this one more than any of the C tier ones, but I don't like it as much as those B tiers. I think it's a good song, but some of the elements feel off for me. Like the chorus doesn't feel that clean, and the verses just feel slightly off to me. I'm not sure why, but I think I'm going to put it in B tier because like, it's better than those C tiers, but it's sort of barely in that B tier. Stranger Inside. Now I really like that intro riff, and to be honest, probably could go into A tier, but I think just because I've only just discovered it, it hasn't sort of grown on me enough yet. But I feel like this one could easily slip into that A tier. I think this is probably one of the best made songs of the album so far. Lacerated. Now this was another one that was almost E tier for me, but I think the thing that pushes it out for me is that chorus. It's good enough to make it so it's not completely like I just don't want to listen to this. So I think Lacerated, C tier. Crying Out, not much draws me in for this one, but I do really like the riffs, so I'm gonna also put that in C tier. And now we get on to an absolute banger, 45. Now I absolutely love this song, so that is going in S tier. I know they've got a normal version and an acoustic version. Personally, I prefer the normal version, so I'm going to put the acoustic version in A, but 45 definitely an S tier song. And then Back to Back, Simple Man. Again, their cover is absolutely amazing. I really love this cover as well, so that Simple Man also goes S tier. Normal one, or the acoustic one, in S tier, and the rock version A. Again, I like it, but I prefer the non-rock version, which is weird because normally I quite prefer heavier and faster paced songs. Wait, what I've just realized is the Leave a Whisper album, there's a song called Leave a Whisper, but it's not on the actual album for some reason, so I need to now listen to the album title song, but it's not on the original. So give me a minute, I'm going to try and get some I'm going to try and rate these last few. Okay, so for Leave a Whisper, I can kind of see why it was left off the album. It's got like elements that in later songs I can hear them do it much better, essentially, so like in future albums. But I think Leave a Whisper, there was some elements near the end I really like, so I'm going to put that in B tier. Again, a lot of these faded out ones here are either demos or live versions that they haven't necessarily recorded properly. I don't like the recording of this, but if they did it properly, I feel like Fly From Inside acoustic version could go really hard, and I think that could be an A, but I think it's B tier for now because I just think it's not recorded very well. But it sounds like it could be really good as an acoustic song as well. Okay, Start Over, I think again, it has elements that I feel like it could be really good. I think if they went back and approached some of these songs that they didn't include originally, I genuinely think a re-recording or something could make some of these songs really good. So I think Start Over is C for me, but again, I feel like how they perform as a band now, if they like just sort of readjusted some of these songs slightly, could be so good. Okay, so despite these being demos, Soon Forgotten I see some real potential with. I don't know why they didn't include that on the album. I think that's a B tier for me, because I think if that was recorded properly, I'd absolutely be in B or A tier. Emptiness Man, didn't enjoy as much. Again, I can see kind of why this one wasn't on the album, so I'm going to put that in C tier. I think if it was properly recorded, I would probably listen to it, but it might be one that I skip more. I thought I had listened to every song before this, but there's so many that I guess are like ones they didn't include on albums and stuff that I probably just haven't, so I guess I'm listening as I go for some of these. Apparently Tie Your Mother Down is a Queen cover. It really does sound they've really done this well. I don't know why this wasn't included on the album. I guess it because it was their first album and they didn't want to have to figure out how to do a proper, like, getting the rights to cover it and stuff. I really like this. I think that's an A. I don't know why they haven't done it properly since. It's genuinely really good, but I could only find it on YouTube. It's not on Spotify or anything like that. Again, it's a demo. I feel like this song could be good, but I don't like it in its current form, so I think that's a C tier. A lot of these I think just need to be re-recorded and would be B tier, and I think some just need to be readjusted slightly. So it's so frustrating because I feel like their first album was so close to being an absolutely phenomenal first album. They have like so many elements where they had nailed that aspect of their sound. I mean, I'm happy they've got to the point they are at now, but I feel like they were so close to getting it this early on is crazy to me. Again, another song that was hard to find, So You Know. Could only find someone re-uploading it on YouTube, and this one's actually really good. I think I'm going to put this in B tier. Again, I'm not sure why they didn't do a proper version of this, and it's an unreleased demo. Some of these songs genuinely are really good if they had just done a proper version of them. So that is Leave a Whisper album. As you can see, mostly sort of B and C tiers, leaning more towards C tier. As I've repeated throughout, they had so many elements that they had nailed. It's so close to just being such a good album, but it's just not quite there. But they do have some amazing songs and covers like 45, Simple Man, discovering Fly From the Inside and things like that. Genuinely really enjoy it. Now, as I said, if I had this on vinyl or something, I would absolutely listen through the whole album, but it wouldn't be one of my favorites from them, but it's got some of my favorite songs. Ironically, I did miss a song that's called Notice Me, so now I've got to try and find that one as well. Again, Notice Me is pretty good. Again, if they did a proper version of it, I think I would prefer it more. I'm going to put it in B tier because I think if they did a proper version, I would genuinely listen to it quite a bit. So now we're actually on to the Us and Them album, Heroes. Now, I really like this song, but I don't think it hits that S tier for me. I know there's songs in upcoming albums that I definitely prefer more to this, but I do think it's a really good song, so that is going in A tier. Save Me, I think a solid song, very catchy chorus, so that is going to go straight in B tier. Not quite as good as Heroes for me, but definitely a good song. I Dare You, again, I really like this song, and I really like his vocals on this song. I think the verses just don't quite hit 100% for me. I think it could possibly be pushed into S tier if they did, but it's definitely a good A tier song. Your Majesty, I like some of the riffs on this, but I think the other songs so far on the album are definitely better, so I'm going to put that in C tier. Beyond the Sun, now this, it feels good in places, but it just makes me, I don't know, there's something off about this for me. It might just be me, but not really liking this one. I think it's C tier. It's not bad enough that I would absolutely skip it, but there's probably a good chance if it comes on that I will. Trade Yourself In, similar. I like the riffs for this, but it just doesn't quite feel right to me, so that's also going to go on C tier. Lady So Divine. Now, this one, it's not necessarily a bad song, but compared to every song so far, and probably every song coming up, I think this is probably the most likely I am to skip a song by Shinedown. So I think that has to go in D tier, because I think personally every C tier song it's in a different league to this one, so it has to go there. Shed Some Light. Now, again, slow songs normally take longer to grow on me, but I guess Shinedown just kind of nailed them. This one is going straight in B tier. The fact it goes straight in B tier when I've only heard it a couple of times while I was doing this tier list is pretty good, honestly. Fake. Now, this is another one where it's sort of cusping. Like, I like it a decent amount, and it's sort of better than the C tier song so far, but lower than the B tier one. So I'm going to put it in B because I do like it quite a bit, but it is sort of very much in between the two. Someday, this is a slightly different one, slightly softer, and again, I think it's very much on that B or C tier for me. So I am going to put it in B because I do think it's better than the other C tiers on this album. I thought I knew Shinedown songs, and now there's a bunch on here that I haven't got either. Oh no, I just accidentally, these two I definitely have. So Begin Again, I think I like the chorus, but it feels like the whole rest of the song doesn't match the chorus to me. So I think that has to go in C tier because it just feels wrong. And Atmosphere, again, unfortunately, I am very likely to skip this one. It's got some nice riffs in it, but I just generally don't really like this one, so I'm probably gonna skip this almost every time. Okay, I've just listened to Carried Away. I don't know why this one isn't on the album. I really like that. I'm gonna put that straight in A tier. I don't know why that's only got a demo version. I'm very confused by their decisions for which were just demos and they never fully recorded properly. Assistance, I think, is probably C tier for me. It's got some nice guitaring, some nice elements, but it just doesn't feel quite right, so that again, that's going to go in C tier. I think the acoustic version of Save Me is also B tier. I think the acoustic version of I Dare You, I just prefer the original, so I think that goes in B tier. Apparently One is a cover of a U2 song. Didn't really like it, so I'm going to put that in C tier. It's not as bad as those D tier ones, but not one I particularly would choose to listen to. But again, that's probably not on them for this one because it is a cover of a different song, so I probably just wouldn't like the original song either. Okay, the Shed Some Light acoustic version. Now, again, I'm not sure if it's because they've improved since these earlier albums or the acoustic version is just better, but I think that's going to go in A. All I could find was a live recording version of it, and honestly, it sounds really good, and I think I prefer it to the original. Okay, Dirt House is another weird one I was struggling to find, and all I could find was a live acoustic version they did for it. I'm not sure what the situation is with this song. I'll put that in C tier. Didn't sound like I'd particularly want to listen to it, but I might do if it's on the album, for example, not like the D tier ones. Again, Break was another difficult one to find. Really like the sound of this one, actually, so I'm going to put that in B tier. But I think this is around the same sort of quality as the first album. However, I think there was more songs I prefer on that first album. So again, these two aren't my favourite by Shinedown, but you do hear elements of where they sort of shine through later, in my opinion, on later albums. But I'd say so far I definitely prefer their first album over this one. Now we are into the era where I first started listening to them, and that is the Sound of Madness album. And we're coming in with one of my favourite songs by them when I was a kid, and that is Devour. That is going in S tier. I still love that song to this day, but I remember I used to be absolutely obsessed with this. I'm pretty sure my first time seeing them at like 13 or something like that, I lost my voice because of singing this song so hard. Sound of Madness, this song is an absolute banger. It absolutely slaps. It is a great song live. Again, that's going straight in S tier. Everything I just described also applies to Second Chance. Again, absolutely amazing song. They nailed it. I just really love this album, if you can't tell. Second Chance, again, going straight in S tier. Those three songs I listen to so often throughout my life. Cry for Help, really enjoy this song as well. However, I think it doesn't quite hit me as hard as those three S tier songs so far, so I'm going to put that in A tier. The Crow and the Butterfly, again, another banging song, and my mum absolutely loves this one, but for me, it doesn't quite hit that S tier, so it's still a great song though, so that is going in A tier. If You Only Knew, a very emotional song, very catchy. Again, I think it's a solid A tier song. Sin with a Grin, I do really like this song, but I don't think I like it as much as any of the others I've mentioned so far. So I think this is going in B tier, which is again songs I like and would absolutely listen to, but I just don't think it's as strong as the others. What a Shame, another amazing song, and I really like the ending where it becomes more powerful. It feels so much more emotional as well, so I think that goes in A tier for me. Cyanide Sweet Tooth Suicide, a great song again. I love the pace for this one. I think this is almost an S tier, but it doesn't quite hit as hard as those S tier songs, so it's gonna go in A. Breaking Inside, again, a really good song. I'm gonna put that straight in A tier. Call Me, now this is a weird one. I do think it's a really good song, but for some reason I just don't listen to it as much as the A and S tiers, so I think I have to put it in B on that basis. The Energy, now this one is, I'm really weird with this one. I either really want to listen to it or really don't. I'm not sure why, because I do think it's a good song, but sometimes I just really I skip it a lot, and then sometimes I want to listen to it a lot. So I think for that I have to put it in C tier, just because if I can't want to listen to it often, I don't know how I could put it in B tier with all the more solid songs. Son of Sam, now this one has grown on me over the years. I think I would have originally put this as a B or C tier, but relatively recently I've just been really getting into the song, and I think it has to go A tier because I really do like the song now. I Own You, I think this is a good song. Again, I don't listen to it much, but it's not one I would particularly skip a lot either, so I think that's a perfect B tier. Junkies for Fame, very similar to The Energy. Sometimes I really want to listen to it, sometimes I really want to skip it, so I think I'll put it in C tier. Again, I think both of these are better than a lot of these C tier songs, but also I don't really skip any of the B tier ones as much as this, so it's a really weird sort of balance. Her Name is Alice, again, a good song, but it does depend on my mood, so I will put that in C tier. Diamond Eyes, I don't know why that wasn't just include on the original album. It is such a good song. That is straight to S tier. Every time this is played live, it is such a good time. Now, I have heard the Second Chance acoustic version. I think I've heard it live, so I do just really love the original, so I will put that in A tier. I have heard the version of Break Inside with Hailstorm. I think I liked it about the same as the original, so I put that in A tier. I do like collaborations on songs though, so that is pretty cool. And I'm going to have to listen to Be the Same, as I couldn't find it anywhere easily. Now, this is apparently an unreleased demo, and I actually really like this. Again, I'm not sure what their decision making is behind some of these tracks, but I think if they did a proper recorded version of this, it would absolutely be a B or A tier song, so I'm going to put that in B. So yeah, Sound of Madness, as you can see, quite highly weighted towards the sort of S and A tier with some Bs in there, and then sort of the deluxe versions of some songs in C, but in general, it is definitely one of my favorite albums of all time, and my wife really loves this as well. Like, if I was listening to that album from start to finish, I wouldn't skip any of the songs, to be honest. I know I say sometimes I'm in the mood to skip some of these, but that's if it just randomly comes up. It is such a good album. Okay, so now we're on to Amaryllis, and again, I really like this album, so there's going to be a lot of highly weighted towards the top, I think. Adrenaline, I think, is a solid A tier song. I love the fast feel to this song, and it always gives me some energy when I need it, so A tier. Bully, I absolutely love the chorus of this one. It's not as fast as Adrenaline, but it's such a catchy chorus that I love singing along to, so also solid A tier song. Amaryllis, again with Shinedown. I'm normally a fan of heavier and faster songs, but Amaryllis is a slow one that I really love, and it's just such a beautiful song. I'm also going to put that in A tier. Unity, now this one is a beautiful song, and actually this was the song we used for our first dance, so it has to go S tier. That emotional connection, I love it so much. Enemies, this song just absolutely slaps. It's a high energy live. It is so good. This is another one where when this comes on live, you know you're gonna have a great time, especially if you're stood in the crowd. So that is going S tier. I'm Not Alright, again, really love this song. I think this is another one that solidly goes in the A tier. Nowhere Kids I also really love, and it seems like it's going to be a theme with this album, but that's also going in A tier. Miracle, I really love the emotional feel to this one, and I have such a great emotional connection with this. I think that's also going in A tier. For the exact same reasons as Miracle, I'll Follow You is also gonna go in A tier. For my sake, I think it's still a really good song, but probably one of my least favorites off that album, so I'm gonna put that in B tier. My Name, I really love this song as well. I feel like that chorus gets out some repressed rage for me for some reason, so that is gonna solidly go in the A tier as well. Honestly, this is such a solid album. Through the Ghost, I do really enjoy this song as well, but I don't think it hits as hard as those A tier, so I think that's going to go in B for me. Okay, so we have two songs here I haven't heard, and again, a lot of the ones I haven't heard seem to be ones that are relatively harder to find and not on the normal versions or the normal deluxe versions of albums. So I'm going to try and find the underground. It says good luck finding it. Okay, I could only get I think it was a small section of it. It's an unreleased song, so I don't know how they got that clip of it, but it definitely is Shinedown. I really like the sound of this. Again, I'm so confused by their process of what they choose to not release and not record proper versions on. If it was a proper song, I think it would be A tier, because it sounds like it'd be really good, really high energy and really catchy. So it might even be S tier, but I don't know, because there's not a proper version that I can even listen to, not even a demo version. Okay, apparently I Feel the Earth Move is a Carole King cover. I don't know who that is, so I'm going to just listen to it and base it on what I feel. Okay, as I said, I don't know the original, but I do really like the sound of that, so I'm also going to put that in A tier. So as you can see by this album, I really love this. I mean, this era for me was so good. I love the Sound of Madness album. I love the Amaryllis album. There's so many good songs on there. It's really hard to pick between which one would be my favorite, because honestly these two albums are so good. Amaryllis, absolutely a banger of an album. So now we're on to Threat to Survival. Now weirdly, when this one came out, I wasn't a massive fan of it. However, this has definitely grown on me over time, so don't you worry. Asking for It, a very strong start to the album, definitely going in A tier. Really enjoy singing the chorus to that one. Cut the Cord, that intro alone is so good. It's going straight in S tier. Again, it's such a good song, and live it's just such a great atmosphere to listen to. State of My Head, now this is a really good song, and I feel like it's almost S tier, but for some reason I forget about it a lot, even though I like it so much. So I think it has to go in A tier, because when I think of all these other songs in S tier, they come to the brain quite quickly, but for some reason this one just doesn't. So I feel like this is probably the best A tier song we have so far. Outcast, again, another chorus I really like, so that is going to go in A tier. How Did You Love, again, I love all of this song as well. It still just doesn't quite hit that S tier for me, but just as good as all those A tier songs. It All Adds Up, again, another solid song, and it all adds up, and that is going straight in the A tier as well. Oblivion, this is a really good song, but I don't like it as much as the other A tier songs on this album, so I think that has to go in B tier. Now Dangerous, now I'm kind of, when I listened through all these, I was kind of going with my gut feel of what I should rate them, and then the chorus came on near the end, and I have to put it in S tier because of that. It was between A and S, but that just made me have to put it in an S tier. It's so good. Thick as Thieves, another really great song. All around, love the chorus and everything, so that is going in A tier. Black Cadillac, I think this is a good song. Again, it doesn't quite hit that A tier for me. I will absolutely listen to the song, but I just haven't clicked with it as much as most of the rest of the album, so I think that has to go in B tier. And Misfits, another good song, but again, not one of my favourites off the album, so I think that also has to go B tier. Now, I think I've heard the How Do You Love acoustic version. I think that's going in B tier. I just really like the original version of it. I think the acoustic version's really nice, but I do just really like the original on this one. Never Let Go is apparently a Japanese bonus track that they put out, so I definitely wouldn't have heard this. Wow, that is an incredibly beautiful song. I've just listened to that and it is amazing. Like, I'm gonna put it in A tier because I don't I've never heard it, so I don't think I can put that straight in S tier, but I genuinely think if that was just on the album normally, it could very much have been an S tier. That is a really good track. Apparently Reject is also a Japanese exclusive one. Now Reject is cool, but I don't like it anywhere near as much as any of the other songs on the album version, so I think that one would probably be a C tier for me. Okay, the piano version of How Did You Love, just as beautiful as the original, so I'm going to put that in A tier. And Breathe, another one where it says good luck finding it, so I'm probably going to find some weird scuffed version to listen to. The more I'm going down the Shinedown rabbit hole, the more I just get confused by the decisions. Again, this is such a good track. I would genuinely probably put this in A tier, and it's a completely unreleased track and it sounds so good. I'm so confused. Just look how many in the A tier are ones that are either like demo versions, unreleased versions, or like deluxe exclusives. Is absolutely mental to me. So that was Threat to Survival. Now, how blessed was I during this period to have 3 albums back to back that are this good? And I can't believe I never appreciated this album that much when it came out. I think I was just going through a phase of starting to listen to heavier music, so it was almost like a weird conflict where I was starting to listen to like Slipknot and go like slowly listen to heavier and heavier bands, and then have Shinedown, which is very much more sing along to it and a more sort of beautiful crafting to it rather than a more heavy. Obviously that can be beautiful too, but you know what I mean. Now I'm older and I listen to a wide spectrum of rock to like extremely heavy metal. I very much appreciated this album so much more, and it's got so many good songs on it. Okay, so now we're on to the Attention album. Now I would say I think Devil is an A tier song. Great intro to the album, and I just really like the choruses to this. Black Soul, I think this is a decent song, but I don't find it as catchy as Devil, so I think I'm going to put that in B tier. Attention. Now, I weirdly, I like the song, but I have found myself skipping this from time to time, so I think it's actually going to go in C tier for me. And I do really like that chorus, but for some reason, I just end up skipping this song quite a bit. Kill Your Conscience. Now, I've just changed this one back to B tier. I was also going to put this in C tier. For some reason, I do skip this one a lot as well. I do really like the chorus to it, and I do think it's a solid song, so I think it has to go in B tier. Pyro. Now, I think I prefer this one for the faster pace. I don't think it quite hits that A tier, but I think it's better than the other B tier ones on the album so far, but I think it also needs to go in B tier. Monsters, again, I like this song, but it just doesn't quite feel like A tier to me. So I think I also have to put this in B tier. And weirdly, I do like a lot of these choruses, but for some reason, I've just never connected to these songs very well. Dark Side. Now, again, I actually really like this one live, but when I'm at home, I just don't tend to listen to it that much. But it is a good song, so I think I have to put that in B tier as well. Now, Creatures, I like the overall emotional feel to this one, and I like singing along to this chorus. I think this one goes in A tier. I think this beats out all those B tier ones for me personally. Evolve. Now, this is a weird one. When I very first heard the song back in the day, I think I absolutely would put this in C tier. However, I do really like this now, and I do really enjoy the chorus to this one, so I'm going to put it in A. Get Up. Now, this one I personally really connect to. Now, this one's really helped me through when I've been struggling like mentally in life and stuff, so I think this one has to go in S tier. Always feel emotional when listening to it, and it sometimes just really helps, and only really powerful songs in my opinion can do that, so that goes straight in S. Special, I also like the emotional feel to that one, not quite as much as Get Up, but I think that goes in A tier. The Human Radio, again, I think it's a good song, but I've just never connected to it that well, so I think that has to go in B tier. Brilliant, I think, has a lot of fun sections in this song, and I think it's just a really good song, honestly, so I think this one will also go in A tier. Now, again, we've got 4 versions here I've never heard, so let's see what they're like. Wow. That piano version was getting me emotional as well. I think the piano version of Get Up also has to go in S tier. It's just beautiful. And while we're at it, the acoustic version can also go there. Basically, this song in general just gets me. Headcase also sounds like such a good song. I don't know why this wasn't included on the album and why I've never heard it before. I just want someone to explain their process. I'm getting more and more confused because I feel like Headcase, again, could potentially be an S tier song for me if I'd heard it before until now. But I really like the sound of that one. And I feel like, for me, fits much more into my taste than a lot of the rest of this album personally. And let's listen to A New Way to Die and see how that goes. Again, this is an A tier, potentially S tier if I'd heard it earlier. What is going on? Like, why is this not on the album? And yeah, overall, this album is a weird one for me. I enjoy it overall, but I've never connected that well to it. And there's a lot of songs that are good, but for some reason, I just struggle to get into. It's definitely higher quality than their first two albums, don't get me wrong, but I don't know what it is. A lot of the songs I just really struggle with. Even Get Up has only been the last couple of years. I say couple, like last maybe 5 years, where I've actually really started to enjoy it and really love the song. But Headcase and A New Way to Die, if those were actually on the album, I think I'd have enjoyed this album so much more. But I genuinely think they could be S tiers for me, but as I've only just heard them now, I just can't put them there. It's crazy to me that potentially two of their best songs on the album weren't on it. That is mental. Now, before we get into Planet Zero, I'm going to try and look at some of these other songs. Atlas Falls, I know, and I think that is a good song. I think when I heard it originally, I was a bit like, but it's definitely grown on me over time. So I think Atlas Falls goes in A tier. Okay, I think I'm Alive was for one of the Avengers films, and again, I really like that, so I think that's going in A tier. Happy Christmas, The War Is Over, not a massive fan on. I think, to be fair, Christmas songs haven't really been a massive thing for me ever anyway, so I'm going to put that in C tier. I don't think it's necessarily a terrible cover. It's only been recent years because my wife is so into Christmas that I've actually started to enjoy Christmas songs more, so that's probably a bit to do with it as well. All right, Planet Zero, their second to most recent album. No Sleep Tonight, I think, has to go in A tier. Great start to the album. I love the fast pace to it, so straight in there. Planet Zero, when it first came out, I wasn't a massive fan of it, and I thought there was some weird lyrics to it, but I don't think they're as weird as I thought they were when they came out, and I do really like the song, and I think it's a great song live as well. I think this one actually will go in S tier for me. Dysfunctional You, I love the emotional feel to this one, and I do really enjoy it, so I think that goes in A tier. I don't know if you can hear my voice keeps going now. I've been recording for an hour and a half. It takes a long time to rate these and commentate on it, plus I'm having to go out and find some of these songs that are relatively hard to find for some of them. Dead Don't Die, again, I think there's great emotion to this one, and I love the feel of it. I think that's an A tier. America Burning, now I do like this song. I do kind of find it cool that they included banjo with this, but it's not one of my favorite off the album. I think this is a B tier. I like listening to it, but I think the A tiers just hit me a bit harder. A Symptom of Being Human, again, an absolutely beautiful song, and it definitely feels like there's a big emotional impact on this album, and so I think A Symptom of Being Human is A tier. Hope, it might not be a 4-letter word, but it's going in B tier for me. Clueless and Dramatic, now I really like this one as well. It sure is fun, so I think that needs to go in A tier. Speaking of sure is fun, I also really like this one, and honestly, it's just a fun song. Now, I think originally I thought this was going to go in B tier, but there's just something about just keep bang, bang, banging on your big bass. There's just something about that just pushes it into A tier for me. I just think it's a really fun song, ironically. Daylight, another beautiful song, another very emotional one that I really connect with. I think that has to go in S tier. The Saints of Violence and Innuendo. Now, originally, again, I didn't really connect with this song. However, after hearing it live a few times and listening back to it more and more, I have really appreciated this song since it came out, and I do really love it. I think that is also an S tier song for me. Army of the Underappreciated. Now, I do like this song, but it just doesn't really stick with me for some reason, so I think this has to go in B tier. It's not one I would necessarily be like, I'm probably going to skip this, but it's definitely not an A tier. What You Wanted, now I can't really put my finger on this. Like, I've tried to describe it, but I just really like this one, to be honest, and so it's going in A tier. With this album, again, it was a bit like Attention Attention. I didn't really like it first. However, unlike Attention Attention, Planet Zero has been growing on me over time, and I'm not sure why I just don't get that with Attention Attention. It's been a real struggle to connect with it. But Planet Zero, all of the songs, just they have been growing on me over time, and that I think those S tier songs, none of them previously would have been S tier for me, and they've grown into that, which is why any of the new songs I'm hearing today I'm also not putting in S tier, because I feel like they will grow. If they were actually out, they would grow on me. But I can see this, same with Amaryllis and Sound of Madness, where I've had so many years to appreciate them and love them. I'm thinking Planet Zero might be one of those albums where I absolutely just is one of my favorite albums in the future. But at this moment in time, I think this probably like top 3, but I think Amaryllis and Sound of Madness are definitely still my favorites. You also might hear my dog snoring in the background. Now, that being said, with how songs grow on me quite a lot over time as I get the emotional connection with them and stuff, we're now on to their newest album. So again, this one hasn't had as much time to grow on me, but this is my opinion, is based on listening to it a few times and getting the vinyl. Okay, so we're starting with At the Bottom. Now, I think this is a good song. However, I don't think it hits that A or S tier for me. So I think that's going in B tier. Dance Kid Dance. Now, this one, I was thinking of putting it in an A tier. However, I just like it too much. Like, considering how new this album is, I'm just, it's so catchy. I just keep singing it, so I think that has to go in S tier. Burning Down the Disco. Now, this one I feel like is going to be incredible live. Like, just imagine the crowd singing Burning Down the Disco. I think is going to go so hard. Yeah, I think it's between the other 2 tracks so far, so I think it's going in A tier. 365. Now, I do really enjoy this one too, and I think this one could easily grow into an S tier, but currently I think this is an A tier for me, because I don't quite like it as much as Dance Kid Dance, but I do really enjoy it, so I've got a feeling that it's A tier at the moment, but very much could be S tier in the future. Young Again, honestly, I had an instant connection with this one. This is such a good song. I definitely think this is one of the best songs on the album. It's got such a good emotional feel to it. It's got such a good chorus, so that is going in S tier. Now, Dizzy, I like this one a decent amount, and I think this very much verges between that sort of B and A tier, but I think it does just beat out the B tier for me, so I think that's going in A. Imposter. Now, I think I have been singing along to this one already, but I don't think I've been liking it as much as the A and S tier one so far, so I think that's a perfect B tier. Machine Gun. Now, originally on my very first listen, I was thinking, this will probably be a B tier song for me. However, this has really grown on me. I think I'm going to put this in A tier for now, but again, this is one that could very much quickly become an S tier for me. Now, again, this is a theme a lot with this album. I've had an instant connection with Outlaw, and I think it's a very solid song, so I think it's A tier. But again, I can feel it, like, I feel like this could very much be S tier as well. I'm getting concerned that in the future, this could very much be my favourite album. And I can't say that yet because I love the Sound of Madness Amaryllis so much. Honestly, I connected to these songs so quickly. It's unbelievable. Safe and Sound. Now, I don't know how else to describe this, but this song just feels so Shinedown. I hope people get what I mean, but I don't know how else to describe it. It is such a good song though, and I think this one does have to instantly go in the S tier. I've just connected with this one so much. I'm starting to get to the point where it's a problem when you're not able to see the stuff on screen anymore. Searchlight is again one that I just instantly have connected with, and I just love the sound of it. And I feel like this one is so emotional and will be so good live. I think that also has to go in S tier. Bear With Me, and I'm again, I've really enjoyed singing along with this one so far. The Bear With Me, Bear. It is definitely an A tier, and again, very much I can see this one being an S. Now, I'm not sure if a lot of this is because it's a new album and I'm excited about it, but as I've said, with some of these other albums like Attention, Attention and Planet Zero, I didn't instantly connect with them, whereas these ones I have. So if it's going to just grow on me over time, I feel like a lot of these could be S tier, and again, this could be one of my favorite albums of all time. That being said, we're going to get onto a song I didn't like as much, and that is Deep End. I like some of the riffs and stuff for this one, but for some reason I just haven't connected with this one. A lot of the rest of these songs I've got instant connection with, and I'm really loving them. This one not so much, so I think that one will have to go in C tier. Killing Fields, again, a very great song, very solid. However, there's a few elements that I'm not a massive fan of. I think this is definitely in the A tier because I love the song a lot, but yeah, I think there's a couple of elements that are just preventing me from probably putting in S tier now, so I think that has to go in A, but that one might not grow into an S tier for me just because those elements I'm not as much of a fan of. Back to the Living, again, instantly connected with this song, and I keep having Like a Panic that lyric in my head for some reason. So I think that's solidly in the A tier as well. Wide Open, I think this is a great emotional feel. I don't like it as much as the A tier song, so I'm going to put that in B tier, but it is a very solid song. Being in B tier is by no means an insult. It's still a song I like, but it's just crazy how many of this album have been A or S tier for me already. So glad that you asked. I really enjoy the build up into the choruses for this one. Again, I feel like this has to go in A tier. I'm just really loving this album. And finally, The Pilot. I feel like this is a very good song, very good emotional closeout to the album. I think that is also an A tier song. So that was their newest album, 8. Now, as I was saying throughout, like this has been one of the albums where I surprisingly have just connected with it really well instantly. So I'm so glad I pre-ordered the vinyl. I was a little worried I wouldn't connect to it as well, as I said with Plant Zero and Attention, where I just didn't get it straight away, and Attention never really growing on me that much. So I'm really glad that this is an album I'm just really loving out the gate, because as I said, I'm sure it will grow on me, so it could very much be my favorite album by them in the future once I've had time to digest it more. Obviously, this is the final song of the tier list. So where would you have placed some of these songs? Again, some of these were pretty difficult to track down and I'd never actually heard before, so I had to just go with my gut on it. But yeah, I'm very much interested to see where some people put some of these songs. I know people are going to get very passionate and disagree with some of these, which is absolutely fine, and I'm sure there's songs I have in S tier that some people are just not going to like either. But yeah, let me know where you would have placed some of these songs. If you did enjoy the video and you want to see more music related content and tier lists for other bands that I love, then make sure to subscribe. Otherwise, I will see all of you in the next one. Oh my, I've been recording for 1 hour and 51. Oh, this is going to take so long to edit.